Gentleman yields. Chair now recognizes Mr. McDowell for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you to the witnesses for being here to testify before us today. Vice Admiral Allen, why was the discrepancy between the President's budget request for fiscal year 25 and the amount authorized in the Coast Guard reauthorization bill so large?
Thank you for that question, sir. So I think when we go through the budget process, there is always a top line. And I think when we start looking at the top line and we look at how the Coast Guard competes within DHS, that's been a hard place for us to be. We often come up to these committees and talk to the committees about how we can go into unfunded priority lists, and in many cases our top line raises there. We are heartened to see the current administration making the priority for us to move from our current budget to a $20 billion budget.
Thank you. And just to follow up, what would be the consequences for the Coast Guard if they continue to receive inadequate funding to support the operations?
Thank you for the question. I would say it's what we're seeing. We're seeing vessels that are out operating and become hold and are taking on water and have to go off that mission. It's the morale of the people that are living in buildings that are not adequate for them to do command and control of our assets offshore, to sleep in overnight, or the housing that they need. It's for the aviation assets that we have to be cut at 19,000 hours and have 7 of those tied up on the ground because they don't have the dollars to replace them.
Well, sir, it seems to me that a hole in a boat is a problem that we should address. I'd like to pivot briefly to talk about the Coast Guard's mission to enforce maritime law and to secure our ports of entry. This administration has taken divisive and swift action to secure our southern and northern border. But we can speculate that once we do that, drug traffickers, human traffickers, they're not going to just stop. They're going to continue to try to come into our country from one way or the other, and that would point to you all in our west and east. And so as our southern borders become increasingly locked down, what actions is the Coast Guard taking to ensure that our east and west coast ports of entry are equipped for any diverted illegal activity, and what specific support would you need to continue to carry out your responsibility to countering illicit smuggling, human trafficking, and drug interdiction?
Thank you for that question. When Congress built the Coast Guard, they provided us with a lot of authorities, a lot of broad authorities. It doesn't make us do only one mission at a time. We can quickly switch between search and rescue, alien migration, fisheries, border control, and we're doing that right now. To this point, since January, we have taken and interdicted almost 348 aliens. We've taken over 1,000 tons of drugs off the water, and we are working to do that more. Because of our authorities and because of our placement across the country, we have the ability to maintain that, and the Commandant, Admiral Lunde, the acting Commandant, has asked us to make border sustainment a priority as we do this, while we continue to keep our eye on the other missions to make sure that we don't let those fall, because those all have requirements that we need to meet.
Well, thank you. As a member of Congress that represents North Carolina, the North Carolina 6th District, which our state was hit hard by hurricanes recently, and it's important to me that the federal government is ready to be able to rapidly assist with natural disasters. How could funding the Coast Guard's C-130 fleet help with inland disaster response?
Sir, the C-130 is the only heavy lift capable aircraft within the DHS inventory. Right now, we are using that to support other DHS components along the southern border to move assets and people. We have a program, a record of 22, plus we have 8 C-27s. Those C-27s will be sunsetting in 2028 because of our ability to support them. We're just not getting the parts or the ability to do that. So we will be down. Our ability to build more C-130s or another like aircraft to the C-27 is needed for us to continue to do the operations and support that the country expects.
Thank you, sir, and I yield back, Chairman.
Gentlemen,